the value of the land vis-a-vis the development. You might find a place where the value of, if the land is 2 billion shillings, Senator Chute, through the chair, and then you add the entire development and it comes to 6 billion, then you're talking 30%. But if the entire development comes to 10 billion, it cannot be 30%, you know. And I think I gave examples of how you then have a graduated scale of ownership of the JV based on different milestones. What we're trying to avoid is what happened in the coast. And I know you're very passionate about that because it left people with a bad taste. And to be fair to them, and also to be fair to the first administration of Nairobi, remember, no county had done this before. You know, that's why we have our challenges in Pangani and in, what we call this, in Jivanji. But those challenges are being unraveled now, and we're sorting it out, you know. The issue of the title deed that had been charged in, Jivanji. If one was to not be pragmatic, you'd say cancel this entire thing. But people have purchased houses, they have units. You don't cut off your nose to spite your face. You say, okay, yes, they did that. And if it was illegal, the agencies of, the law should follow those who gave those titles. But to be pragmatic is to secure the interests of your residents and those who have bought units in those houses. And I'm very happy to report that there is tremendous progress in Jivanji. It's going really well. The first tenants should be coming back soon, to their units, and we shall issue them. In as much as that started before my county government, we shall find a way to
Sorry, Governor, I want to just request anybody whose their mic is on, just to switch them off, so that we don't have the echoes. Governor, proceed.
Yeah, so Chair, allow me then to have my chief officer go into the specifics of the 5 estates.
Yeah, but before that, because your presentation was a substantive one, that I was giving the senators to give a substantive question to you. Yes. And then
so I think I missed Senator Crystal's.
Yes. She did ask a question, but I wanted to ask you 4 substantive questions, which I also want the representatives also to actually take note, because they will be point of conversation. The first one, Governor, in your presentation, you have very well focused on the historical development of these estates, and which is very highly appreciated. But with that historical representation also comes with historical tenancy, if you may see what I mean. Because if you start the story from 1960 to where we are right now, it is my humble judgment that then you would have different tenants over time, which can bring about the issues of succession of tenancy, which is a very important one for me, because then classification of those tenancies then must be very clear. Do we have secondary tenancies or do we have primary tenancies? And how do you go about that in terms of identifying who then do you classify as the tenants who will qualify for the real deal that you are presenting? So I already talked about that historical succession of tenancies. So that would be number 1. And then the second reason I'm very keen on, although I'm not a resident of Raila from Migori, but I'm a very passionate son of this country. And I strongly believe that the approach to Nairobi, being a primate city in the continent, and if you think about just the kind of business that Nairobi attracts, it certainly needs a metropolitan approach in terms of management. And that was attempted in the previous administration, not well executed because of a number of vested interests, but that will take away the idea of a properly run metropolitan city. Whether it's by the county government is immaterial, but just in terms of the principle of it. And that then brings the idea of how then do you integrate proper infrastructure into these major estates in terms of your development and planning. Because you've got about 18 of them that have been earmarked, 13 of them that you're very well thinking about planning. But is there a proper thinking around just the infrastructure that integrates into the city in your common planning of it? Are you thinking about things like cable cars? Are you thinking about things like the train access? What is the infrastructure integration into the larger cosmopolitan area of Nairobi City? That will be a very big interest for the committee. The third substantive question I wanted to ask you here you did not talk very strongly about the public utilities. And I do understand the essence of having a developer and the plan. I don't want to come down into that. But by principle, for the benefit of the residents who are going to be there, have you absolutely solved for the issues of public utilities? Because this has been the biggest problem in Nairobi, and actually even in our major urban areas. If you think about issues of sewerage, for instance, we have got estates that were started generally in Nairobi, and today they are poverty havens simply because of poor public utilities. You find sewerage bursts, and in some of these areas that you have shared, for instance, you just told us that Woodley will be moving from 43 units to 1975 units. I mean, that's a big sewerage pressure. There's also a big waste management pressure. If you think about waste management in Nairobi, is there a principle approach to it that the residents who are here can also be able to chime in? And these are also some of the areas of public participation that Senator Sifuna had asked before, whether there's more proper public participation. Then the last thing is just about quality of life. Remember, I asked about the dignified living of the residents as they are currently and as they will be in future. And some of these dignified lives manifest in our lives in Nairobi every day. For instance, we're taking a simple case of flooding in Nairobi. We know what happens when Nairobi rains. There's a proper incidences that we have seen of serious flooding in Nairobi. Here we're talking about 13 estates. And we're talking about irises, which have become a symbol of concrete jungle, even in places like Kileleshwa that has been in the news, and Lavington. Is there thinking about quality of life with regards to vagaries of nature, such as flooding? This would be substantive because I want you to talk through whether now or in the mix of the conversation that we'll be having with the residents here as you're presenting.
Thank you, Chair. I'll be very happy to answer them now. The first question you've asked, and these are good questions, Chair, is with respect to historical tenancy. Chair, it is true, there have been different tenants from, you go to Ziwani from 1939, you know. But any lawyer will tell you that we can only get into an engagement with that person who we have a contract. And the person we have a contract with is the person in our records who is paying the rent. The Rating Act, which you passed in December, also alludes to that. And so, yes, there could be some who are the ones we've contracted, the ones who have the documentation, but they have sublet to other people. First of all, the subletting is not legal. It is not acceptable, and it cannot be recognized to us. We can only engage with those in our record who have been given that allotment and who are our tenants, Chair. In many of these estates, the extensions, they're also illegal. The extensions, there are other structures behind there. Those structures are not legal. But these people in those structures can get an opportunity to be a tenant in the new development, not to be an owner, to be a tenant in the new development. Remember, they do not pay rent to Nairobi, to the people of Nairobi, you know, because that rent is what comes to the public coffers. It is not to myself, it is to the public coffers. And so the people we recognize. Otherwise, you'll open a huge Pandora's box. Even somebody who came and put a kiosk in Jericho will also want a unit for free, or in Woodley. You know, you cannot go there. So there are also limits as to what we're able to do as a county with respect to those who are our tenants. A tenancy agreement is a legal document that is binding, either implied or implicit, or explicit in terms of a document. But just the arrangement of paying and receiving services gives you, you know, what we call the, an implied contract, that there exists. That yes, you're my tenant, you have that card, you're in our book, our records management, our records office, estate management has you in our database. That is the person who will benefit from this. And by the my team can feel free to chime in at any other point as we move along. And so I know now you will see many people going back to their houses because they had let go of those. You will have, and that's why we must have a very serious process of addressing each case by case. You'll have a case where you have a nephew and an uncle or a niece or two brothers claiming the new unit. We will not, because the person we gave was one individual, maybe who worked at the county, has 4 children, it doesn't mean they'll get 4 houses. It doesn't. They'll get one unit that is theirs to own. If the others want to come and be tenants, they can then come and they'll get priority to be tenants in the other houses that will be available to them. There are limits to what you can be able to do legally. Chairman, metropolitan management of the city, I think that's a broad question. Of course, we have very good urban planners and, in the city. Professionally, the Institute of the Urban Planners will tell you that they're members and of good ranking. Nairobi County is a county that is growing. By the time a lot of the plans previously were done, they were targeting a population of less than 2 million people. Today we are 7 million in the city of Nairobi during the day, 5 million at night, around 4.5, 5.2 thereabout at night, because many commute to our neighboring cities. We say Kajiado is our bedroom, and so is Kiambu and Machakos, you know. And so with that, there are certain things that must be done, Chair. Chair, in the next 25 years, which is why we're almost concluding with the unveiling of Nairobi Vision 2050 steering committee. In the next 25 years, we'll have 10.5 million people in the city of Nairobi. Of course, there is a huge strain on the infrastructure as we speak. There is need for us to avoid what we call urban decay or urban sprawl, which is why our development control proposals at the assembly are to increase the heights, you know. But it's not increasing the heights without thinking about the amenities and the utilities. And I will break down to you what we're doing with water and sewer. And many will tell you they're getting more water, but I'll explain why and how and what is happening with that respect. Chair, you have urban decay in areas where somebody has to travel from Kamulu to go drop their child to school in Makini and go to work in Westlands, you know, or go to hospital at Mama Lucy on Kangundo Road. Yet, each of these estates should be able to have all of these amenities. That is what had been before. You'd have a health center, you'd have a market, you have a hospital, I mean, you have a school, and possibly many people would work around that area. Now, avoiding urban sprawl is not creating a concrete jungle. Any global, you know, globally acclaimed urban planner will tell you that is where the world is moving to. You'll be shocked, and this one you can Google and search or research in any way. In the east coast of the US, the greenest part of the US is Manhattan. That is considered the greenest part based on carbon emissions. And it is that way because they have done what we call densification. With that densification, more people are walking, they're using less fuel, the emissions are much lower, people can cycle to work, they can walk to work, and that is how you create a city that is, you know, geared towards the future. We're dealing with climate action. Remember, Chair, this is not just a Nairobi problem, it's an African context problem. In the 1950s, 22% of the world's population was in Europe, only 7% in Africa. Where we're going to, in that 2050, 1 out of 4 people will be living on the continent of Africa. And of those 1 out of 4, 25%, 65% will be in our urban areas. So what we're doing is something that should be replicated in our urban areas on the continent and in Kenya, in our counties. You know, it needs to be replicated. Otherwise, you'll have sprawling informal settlements, you'll have poor quality of life. And so when we're doing these estates, we're putting into mind the need for urban areas, green urban spaces, recreation facilities, water, sewer provision, the issues of traffic. Now, when it comes to, and of course on infrastructure, you know, this is the reason why, and you've mentioned the flooding and the roads etc., why we are still putting up a very big fight as the governors on the issue of the road maintenance fuel levy. And I want to thank the Senate. The Senate has been resolute on this. And a lot of our leaders, especially the Right Honorable Prime Minister, he's spoken about it time and time again, that it cannot be that every Kenyan pays for fuel levy when they buy fuel. They pay for it. Inadvertently, everyone pays for it. And then there are 2 categories of roads, national and county, but you want this money only on the national roads. You come to a city like Nairobi, you find like the major arteries that everyone is talking about and has a problem, Jogo Road, for instance, Agwins Kovek, go to Juja Road, are not managed by the county. The funds are not there with the county, but when people hit those bumps, the name that is easiest to pronounce is Sakaja, you know. let us have the responsibility with the resources. The members of parliament cannot want to control infrastructure and plan citywide or countywide, yet the place, the area of focus is so narrow. And I gave an example. I don't want to give a specific member, but if you have a member of parliament who has a huge informal settlement and also a middle class settlement, for instance, Upper Hill and Kibra, or Hurlingham and Kawangware, or Westlands and Kangemi, when they get money through Kera, and I don't know why Kenya rural roads is in Nairobi, but anyway, they are. When they get money, they will not put it in Westlands supermarket or in or Jogoo Road, which traverses more than 4 constituencies, or Hurlingham, or even areas like Jericho. They will put it where the votes are. But a county government is able to think holistically at the connectivity between these areas. So, Chair, on infrastructure, I think we need more support, and counties should also be allowed to resource it. Remember, RMLF, a component of it, I think 25%, is being securitized. But it's being securitized by the national government. Why is it that the national government can go borrow, securitize, and do all that for their projects, but not for county projects? For you to build a city of the future, the amount of money you need is way more than what we collect, and way more than what we get from equitable share. Even if we push to 450, Nairobi will just move from 20 to 23 or 24. So, Chair, on that one, I just want to thank.
Point of order, Chair. Chair, I think that if the governor restricted himself to answering specifics, we would move a bit faster.
Yeah, specifically what is about infrastructure?
I think you should go to pointed answers, Governor, because if we sit here and listen to all these stories, we might not be here. We know what our position is on RMLF. We know what the position of our party leader is. Maybe you can tell us about your party leader's position. But let us answer the specific questions that have been raised so that we move a bit faster.
Chair, if you remember what you've asked me, you've been very clear about infrastructure. And
yes, but just I think the point is just being able to summarize. So we have a lot of heads in the room. You can be able to.
So, Chair, on the public utilities, and you know, I mean, if you ask a wide question, you'll get a wide answer. You know, I can't summarize when you've asked generally about metropolitan planning. Public utilities, the example I can give is Woodley. All of these estates, we know that the population is going to go up, definitely. Chair, you know what we're doing with respect to water. I think I've expressed it in this committee. We've had a huge shortage of water in Nairobi. We've been able to increase 140 million liters per day. For Woodley, there's a new line that will affect Hurlingham, Kilimani, Kileleshwa, coming down from Kabete through to Oleodume, to actually the junction of Kungu Karumba, the new road that connects Ngong Road and Langata Road. That line will serve this estate and the estates around it, including Langata, that has never been getting water. Now we have a new line coming through Karen, which has never gotten by gravity from through Bomas of Kenya. And so, while you have done that, the point that I really want you to understand is that the Nairobi is water scarce. Yeah, we require 900 million liters a day, but we only had 525 million liters a day. We've added 140, but there is still a gap. There are two projects which I would urge you to help us sort out. On Northern Collector 2 and Maragua 4, that will add another 220 million liters a day to serve these estates. It can be done within the next 2.5 years. The financing request, again, is stuck at the national level. So, Chair, I think I'll leave it at that. Remember, with increased water, 75% of it then must be sewer provision. That is how you calculate it. At least with the Nairobi River Regeneration Program, we're doing a 1.8 by 2 meter trunk sewer, 54 kilometers. That will serve population for the next 40 years, but along that corridor. A lot of estates had been, putting direct connections of sewer into the river. But now when you have a trunk sewer on both sides of that one river, remember we start with Nairobi River, phase 2 is Ngong River, which is the most polluted river on the continent, and then Mathare River. With those three, if they also have that component of trunk sewer, and remember these are contracts that are coming with the financing, we should be able to be pretty good when it comes to sewer.
Very well. I think that for the purposes of fairness of time,
I'll leave it at that.
I'll allow your, did you say your Chief of Staff?
Yeah, Chief Officer.
Chief Officer, I mean, just 2 minutes in case there is any part that you didn't, capture, and then I'll open it up to the representatives so you can listen to the representative from what you have presented, and then I'll come back to the senators.
No, Chair, just clarification on that infrastructure, because the problem is with everything the governor says, there are questions that arise. Now, I have a very specific question, Governor.
Can I request
on that infrastructure alone?
Only?
Yes.
Okay. Because I want to be fair to the guests who have also been here.
Absolutely. And yes. Chair, you should remember that I am representing these people. So the questions I'm asking are not for Sifuna. I don't stay in Woodley. Governor, when we had this conversation last time about the joint ventures and how we determine how much allocation of houses the county gets, we only made reference to the cost of the land. But if indeed this agreement puts responsibility for critical infrastructure, including those public utilities, on the county government, because an estate, a home, is not just a building. All these amenities are also part of what makes the place livable. If indeed, then the cost of doing water, sewage, public roads, and other utilities, I've seen here under clause 23C, is on the responsibility of the county government. Shouldn't you then get more units in terms of the additional cost that makes this place a livable estate? Otherwise, in my view, if you are a developer of a house, you cannot just build a house and live and say we are selling units. You need access to water, you need access to that road infrastructure, you need access to sewerage. What would you say about that, as in, shouldn't we be getting more units given the fact that we as a people of Nairobi now have to pay that cost to make that estate livable?
In an ideal situation, yes, but all on-site infrastructure is covered by the developer, or including where they're doing a school or a social hall, etc. But the off-site infrastructure then comes back to the county government. That is the arrangement. But I'll allow the chief officer to get into more of those details.
Governor, I would advise, because some of us also are engaged in some of these urban planning issues. I would advise that some of these questions, if perhaps there's no concrete answer to them, just take them as feedback. Because my question was very, very specific on the integration of this infrastructure. And that's why you see Senator Sifuna would then have to ask more questions, even in that question that you have given, because that integration concept is not about just the investment that has made holistically in the city. Is how are these integration considered at this development planning phase? Because if, for example, what Senator is asking, if you're going to have a developer who's going to benefit from the infrastructure that you have put as a county, it's an investment you have made, and you need to have a value of the cost of investment that is there, so that your share must then be bolstered based on the contribution that you're making with that investment. But that I'll leave that for another time, because I know that I really want to hear. So can you just perhaps take a note, and then you'll be able to add them when we have added from the Chair. Or Senator, I can give you 1 minute, and then
Chair,
and then
my mic has been on for a long time. It's a direct question, really, and a simple one. You know, it's not every time that you have the governor of Nairobi here. These buildings are coming up every day, even before he does what he's doing. The buildings are coming up in Nairobi every day. All of them must be feeding on the same sewer system, the same infrastructure that was established those years. Maybe the question that the people in Nairobi would also want to hear is, I've heard of some development taking place this side of the city, but the biggest population, I think, is the other side, Eastlands, Pumwani, Embakasi, that side. What are we doing about that, the sewer system, especially the sewer system? Every time you drive around that place, burst sewer all the time.
Chair, we can have a substantive meeting on all the water and sewer projects we're doing in the county. There are very, very many, including some that we launched during the tour we had a few weeks ago. There are very many, done by Nairobi Water and Sewerage Company, being undertaken by the county government, being undertaken by Athi Water. So I'll be very open to come and give you a breakdown of all of those projects. Of sewer expansion, recently we're doing Umoja sewer expansion, we're doing some in Eastlands. And the water, that's what I was explaining, the water, the first problem has been just the sheer quantity that is needed vis-a-vis how we're working to increase the quantity. that then is received from Nairobi. So I'm very happy, Chair, on a substantive discussion.
Just how these facilities are integrated to the entire development. That's the biggest concern we have.
But I'll assure you.
Just a moment, Governor. Just to say that what Senator Sifuna are bringing up are very, very important, because while the development of these 13 assets are going on, what they are saying is that they are not the only development that are going on. So there is this overall dependency of these facilities by other developments that are going on. We don't even talk about commercial development that are going on in Nairobi that are depending on sometimes this infrastructure. But we just wanted to have a case for integration. That's all. For how you think about access system, transport system, sewage system, flooding system, and those kind of things. And you can give us that in writing at opportune time. But I don't want to belabor that because there are more substantive issues that we need to engage with.
Unless we give you an entire development plan of the county. Chair, the county is an ongoing institution. We build roads every day. We have a plan for the roads. We have a plan for sewer. We have a plan for water. Whether or not we are doing urban renewal, we'll still be doing it. And the assets we are doing will connect to that infrastructure. And remember, this urban renewal plan is not something that someone came up with last week or last year. There's been a lot of professional input. Of course, they're faltered in many areas of execution, but the engineers, the planners, the architects, the transport professionals have been sitting on this for years. Remember, it started during the time of the first administration. So, if you want a substantive discussion on all infrastructure, for instance, we say in Makadara constituency, because that is where we have many of them. We have Jericho, we have Bahati, we have national government is doing some in Makongeni, in all those areas. We can be able to present that so that you can see holistically. But I want to assure you, we're not just sitting, doing nothing, waiting for houses to come up, Chair. Please have that assurance.
No problem, Governor. Please. Can I give you 3 minutes? Can I do it in 3 minutes?
Yes, I'll be very.
Okay.
I'll be very quick. We have several projects in Nairobi in what we classify as phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3. Phase 1, you're all familiar with it. It's Pangani and Jivanji, which are under construction. Phase 2, we have Woodley, Lot 1, Kariobangi North, Bahati Lot 3, Maringo Lot 2, Jericho Lot 1, Jericho Lot 2, and Ziwani Estates. Of this, in phase 2, only Woodley is under construction. The rest are currently in the joint venture stage, where we are imminently about to sign with the partners that we have secured. Then we have another phase, which is what we are calling phase 3, which we will be advertising. Phase 3 comprises what we advertised in phase 2, which didn't get a developer, and now the new lots that we'll be putting out. These are Bahati Lot 1 and 2. Again, we might drop, based on our negotiations with the national government, we might drop Bahati and release it to the national government. We have Maringo Lot 1, Jericho Lot 3, Lumumba Lot 1 and 2, Bondeni, Embakasi, Woodley Lot 2, Woodley Lot 3 and 4, Maringo Lot 3 and 4, Lumumba Lot 3 and 4. So those we will soon advertise to secure developers. That is the summary of where we are in terms of status.
Very well. Honorable Senators, I wanted to seek your, congruence whether we can be able now to open this to the representative of the estates, just to hear from them what their reaction will be.
Just before you do,
yes,
I don't think the CEC had followed the guidance that the chair gave. Okay. That there are 5 estates present in this meeting today. What you need to do, don't tell us about the other lots. Just those estates that are in this meeting today, what is the status? So maybe you can the chair had guided Lumumba are here, Woodley are here, Maringo are here, New Pumwani are here, although New Pumwani was a different issue, and the other one, the clerk can guide. Just maybe just give a breakdown of the status in those that are present here.
Okay, thank you, Chair. My apologies for maybe missing that direction. For Lumumba, we did not secure a developer when we advertised, so we will be advertising Lumumba. Lot 1 and 2. Jericho, Lot 3, we will be advertising, but currently we have prepared the joint venture agreement for Jericho, Lot 1 and Lot 2. I hope that's clear. New Pumwani, I think that's something else. It's not part of the mapped estates. Woodley, we have Woodley Lot 1 is ongoing. The developer is on site. I believe currently setting out to begin construction. Then Woodley Lot 2, 3 and 4 will be advertised. Maringo Lot 3 and 4 will be, Maringo Lot 1, Maringo Lot 3 and 4 will be advertised, while Maringo Lot 2 already has a developer with whom we are signing a joint venture. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thank you so much. Senator, is that in order? Senator Sifuna?
Yeah, Chair. You know, there's a breakdown of the phases. We have pre-construction, construction, and post-construction activities. Now, when you say you are advertising, is it safe for us to assume that you are done with all the preliminaries, including the engagements with your tenants?
Yes.
Please go ahead.
You are done with the tenants. All public participation has been concluded in Lumumba, in everywhere. That's what you're saying.
In terms of the intention to develop, all right, that one we have concluded. What is not concluded is the conversations around the inconveniences, what the chair has been calling the dignity of tenancy and how we are compensating these tenants. Those conversations are pending, as they are for most of the residents who are here. We are yet to, lock down. Are we going to give you a 2-bedroom? Are we going to give you a 1-bedroom? How long is the, eviction notice? How many months do we compensate you to be out of sight before you come back? So those nitty-gritty conversations have not yet been concluded with all of those estates. Now,
wouldn't you agree with me, Chair, that pending conclusion of that conversations, you're poisoning the atmosphere? I think there was an undertaking by the governor last time you were here, Your Excellency, that nothing would happen prior to conclusion of those. I don't know why you're calling them inconveniences, because these are that choice of word is a bit odd, Madam CEC, because these are serious concerns that are being raised by your tenants.
No, and, she's saying the tenants' inconveniences. Tenants being inconvenienced.
That's what I'm saying. I doubt you will classify the concerns in Jericho or Lumumba as inconveniences. These are major concerns. And Governor, we had advanced this conversation where you had gotten to a point where I think you had undertaken in uncertain terms that there would be no agreement signed without these so-called inconveniences having been cleared. But maybe, Chair, with your guidance, we can hear from the residents about these inconveniences. And then,
before even that, the applicant, because I want Governor, this committee is very keen on closures. Some of them will be long-term closures, some will be medium-term closures, but some are certainly short-term closures. And those closures, what I was expecting in that particular brief, I think this is one of the most important briefs that we have had in the entire conversation. What I was expecting is, with Lumumba, this is the timeline we have to conclude on those concerns. These are the ones we've concluded. In the next 2 months, 1 week, 3 weeks, we are concluding on that conversation for once and for all. We are proceeding this way. And remember, I talk also as a political leader, in the sense that I know that a governor's term is 5 years. And the last 1 or 2 years, there is a lot of political activities going on. So we don't want a situation whereby this thing becomes so an open-ended conversation. That we haven't concluded on this, we may conclude on it, we will conclude on it. Is there a specific update on every single of these 5 estates with regards to, just a moment, with regards to where are you at with those conversations with the residents, so that I can be able to open? I think this would be a good point to open up to the residents.
Yeah.
Also, but I'm going to give you just 2 minutes. If you have got that brief, what you have said that you are spending, how long is this going to be pending in your view with regards to each and every of those estates?
You know, Chair, you're giving directions, but just allow us to also try and help if we can. The governor has had his time. He has laid out his case. He has said what he had to say about the estates that he had to speak about. The residents are here. Why can't we just hear from them?
Yeah, and that's what I've said, that whatever the update she has given that Senator Sifuna has followed up on is a very, very serious update, that we need to have a concrete answer to it. If there is none, it's also fine, because you've got the residents here. But I'm just saying, for 2 minutes, do you have a time-bound update with regards to this agreement?
Chair, where we have a developer, for instance, Woodley, we did conclude immediately on the MOU. The MOU is a fairly standard document which is applicable across the estates. So the minute a developer is secured, for instance, we have done the documentation, we have signed the JVs, we have signed the form of contract, and all those statutory processes are concluded, and developer is properly onboarded. Remember, it is the developer who compensates, all right? The resources to compensate the tenants for the time they will be out of the site comes from the developer. So until the developer is properly onboarded, you cannot necessarily engage with the tenants, because even the conversations around how much money are you paying them requires the developer to be on board, so that then it's sort of like an agreement. We'll pay you 15,000, for 1 year, or for how long. So a lot of these conversations will move faster once we conclude with the joint venture agreements. Where we have concluded the joint venture agreements, Reed, Woodley, and Jerry, and Kariobangi North, those conversations with tenants have been concluded. The MOUs are just pending signature. Woodley we finished, Kariobangi North we are just about to do it. So as soon as we are done with these other 5 joint ventures, then we should be able to lock the MOUs with the residents. So that's the sequence of events, and which is why we have not yet fully concluded with the tenants, because the JVs are still ongoing.
Okay, I think this will be a good point to now transition to the residents. And I think the neater way to do it, if you will allow me, our guest for today, I will go estate by estate, and I will first of all just request the chairpersons from the estates to, make a submission or respond to what the governor has said, and then time allowing, I'll then go another round whereby I'll allow the estates to actually perhaps have maybe a secretary or a member who, depending on how you are organized, I'll be fine opening it up to any of the residents members. But let's start with the chairpersons of the estate, and I will start with the Ofafa Jericho. If the chairperson or the person representing the chairperson is here, then I will give you this opportunity to perhaps, let me just see in terms of time. I think 5 minutes is fair, isn't it? I'll give you up to 5 minutes. If you have to share that 5 minutes with the secretary or a treasurer or a member, you are free. This meeting is free, but we'll start with Ofafa Jericho. And remember to reintroduce yourself for the benefit of the governor and his team before you do a submission or a response or a query that you want the Senate to be vigilant on this development.
Thank you. My name again is John Mungoda, Chairman of Ofafa Jericho Residents Association. Excuse me, Chair. May I make an honest request?
Sure.
5 minutes may be too short for us to present. And if we are to start presenting, I would request that Maringo, the way we had arranged it, start presenting, we follow, then Lumumba comes through. If you don't mind, if you can give us at least 10 minutes.
Senators?
That's fine, Chair. I think it would be only fair, given that we on our part have exhausted the better part of an hour and a half
Yes.
which hour belongs to the governor. The senators have only taken half.
Okay, I'll give you 10 minutes, but then that would mean that just here you spread it. So you were requesting that I start with Maringo?
Yes, Chair.
Okay, please, Maringo, the chair is Peter, right? Yes, Peter, please go ahead.
Sorry, the chair is Shauri Njoroge. There are two Njoroges. There is Peter Njoroge and Shauri Njoroge.
Yes, Njoroge.
Yes.
Because Peter was there for the representatives, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Please go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Chair. And thank you, our able senator and the Senate committee for inviting our His Excellency, the Governor. We have never met him since we elected him. Anyway, let's start. To be sincere, Maringo Estate. To be sincere, our engagement with the NCCG has been so horrible. First of all, we came at the bottom of the chart when they were finalizing issues. And when we asked them who did the public participation, they never did it in Maringo, and nobody in Maringo was involved. So they were doing is chiefs and estates officers, not engaging the residents of Maringo. When it comes to public engagement, when it comes to awareness, nothing was done. Here we see there were 6 clusters, nothing that was done. When it came to mapping, when they were doing mapping, that's when some road constructions were going on. So they were doing it clandestinely, hiding. And we even asked them, what are you doing? They told us that we are trying to mark the roads. We come here telling you that these people don't come up openly. They come up hiding. Another thing is that recently we engaged the county assembly committee, and several issues came out about public participation. We came to notice that they are even doing public participation in WhatsApp selectively in an area where they call it Lot 2. We have 310 houses. They only engage 74 households, leaving out the rest. And when the acting director of housing was asked to clarify, he said that it's true, that they are doing public participation in WhatsApp, but selectively. It's in the hazards. Another thing is that we came to notice that these projects is not following the constitution. Even the county acts. Okay, let me leave it to the secretary, kindly.
Good afternoon, Senator Chair. My name is Jalango Gutu, the Secretary of Maringo Estate Residents Associations. I wanted to be on record that we appeared before the County Committee on Lands, Planning and Housing on the 26th of March 2025. What emerged from that meeting last month, what emerged from that meeting was clear that this project has not been approved by the County Assembly. We referred them to Section 114 of the County Government Act, which subsection 2, which says that a project of this magnitude must be subjected first to public hearing. It is mandatory that it has to be subjected to public hearing, which has not been done. The same it has not been, there is no validation report that has been submitted to that committee to present to the county assembly for approval. So as we speak now, this project has not been approved by the county assembly. Number two, section 115 entails that laws and guidelines for such a project have to be emanated from the county assembly. In this case, there is none. So in our view, or what we fail to understand is why somebody should be so desperate as to try to implement a project which has not been approved, knowing that it is an illegality. When we talk of public participation, sorry, let me just say one thing. The acting director of housing told the meeting that only 7 MCAs they went with to Naivasha are the ones who approved the project, contrary to provisions of section 114 of the County Government Act. When we come to public participation or public engagement, we had about 6 of them, but on all occasions they were coming to tell us what they are intending to do or what they have passed, not putting into consideration our inputs, which they are conducting the public participations contrary even to the provisions of their own guidelines. I think we gave out files and we have put all the documents that will prove that they were not even following their own guidelines.
Just a moment, clerk, did you receive any documents from just the same way we do with the governor? If the documents that were received, I know we might not have enough copies. If there are not enough copies, I want you to share with the senators because they're seated there, just so that when there's reference made, senators, you can have the benefit of interpreting the document. And also I'll just be keen.
Chair, we presented enough documents.
Yes,
we presented enough files.
Okay. No worry, the clerk will supply the senators with the files. Go ahead.
On matters of ownership, house ownership, we wrote to the governor a letter dated 6th of March 2024. The governor has never had courtesy even to respond to that letter. From March 2023 up to this moment and time. We wrote him a reminder in October last year, the same. He has not responded to the same. In our letters, we attached sessional paper number 5 of 1958/59, and I'll refer you to page 23 of the same document. Though it is faint, it is somehow highlighted. It talks on how Maringo was constructed. This was constructed with an agreement between the Central Housing Board and the contractor, and they only handed the houses to the city council, the then city council, as trustees to collect rents on their behalf, or on behalf of the Central Bank, which is now referred to as the National Housing Corporation. The Central Paper illustrates how the money was supposed to be used. It included all even claims. We wonder what claims the city council or the government, county government is claiming on the estate. We also have sessional paper number 4 of 1959 at page 39. It gives the redemption period of the loan, which is put at 25 years. It is very clear that that loan was supposed to be redeemed within 25 years. But the city council have continued collecting rent. They have refused to reply to our documents. In fact, even in our sitting, the acting director said that they own the houses in trust, meaning the houses do not belong to them. We also have answered extracts of 1960, which is clear. It was now repealing the powers that they had given the then city council, the power to collect rent now, and gave it back to the Central Housing Board to collect. And it is even clear that what they legalized at that time was only administrative arrangements that the city council and the Central Housing Board had. That is what was legalized in 1960, according to the Hansard report that we have. We have also a Kenya Gazette. Yes, Senator.
Sorry, Chair. We're just discussing here amongst ourselves, and we appreciate the presentation by Maringo, but quite clearly the issues that are coming up are issues that actually should have come up during public participation. We cannot allege to conduct public participation here. That will not be possible. Chair, what we would want the Maringo representatives to do is perhaps point to the issues that the governor made a presentation. What issues do they agree with? Which issues don't they agree with? So that, as you say, Chair, today we must bank something. We can't have this conversation over and over and over again.
Yes, Senator
Chair, allow me to guide the residents, because I know the level of anxiety that these issues arouse. You guide us about the nature of these public participation forums. There was a notice here, and there was supposed to be a public participation on 25th May 2023 at St. Patrick's. Were you there? Were you present?
Yes, we were there.
Were you allowed to say these things that you are saying here now?
These people are only on that day in St. Patrick's. The estate officer came with a document. He read that document, did not share it with anybody, and they just walked out.
So he never allowed you to make this presentation you are making?
No.
Okay, that is the information that is important to the Senate. Now, other than this meeting at St. Patrick's on the 25th of May 2023, has there been any other meeting between you and the county government?
Yes, we
of public participation.
We vote again on let me just a minute.
You gave us a date here of 2024, 6th March 2024. Oh, that was a letter. It was a meeting of
there is one of 5th August 2023 and another one on 2nd February 2024.
Those are meetings of public participation.
limited public participations.
Were you present in those meetings?
Yeah, I was present.
Did the county leadership allow you to make that presentation that you are making now?
No, we have never been allowed to make that presentation. And I started by saying that we have even written to the governor, and he has not even had the courtesy of responding to the same.
Okay, that is clear, Chair. I think we can move, unless there is any other issue.
I've been very lenient. You have actually taken about 17 minutes.
Thank you.
Yes, but I was giving time because I like classifying sometimes some of these themes that come out. So I think that the theme that I was getting is one, a miscommunication between you and the governor, where there is no, maybe some exchange, communication, which I think that the governor will respond to at the right time. But then there's also the issue of the legality of the project. And the one that perhaps actually caught my eye was the issue of the requirement to have the county assembly certify this kind of project, which I think again governor will talk about or rather respond to. So in that presentation, I have actually gotten two of those issues: lack of that communication between you and the governor, which I think should be there because it's a stakeholders engagement. That's the way the governor would have conversation between the county and developers. There should be conversation between you as residents and the governor. But then the issue of legality, senators, I think that the issue of this county assembly engagement perhaps is something that the governor can respond to at some point. So just take notes. The governor was a senator here, and during his time here, I used to follow him so much. He was also the chair of was it at that time? No, there was a coalition. Sorry, MP, isn't it? Yes. He was chairing the coalition on equal opportunity. So I would wish that there is equal opportunity in this conversation, both in terms of communication and even further into the substantive allotment that we talk about. So those two issues, Governor, just note them. Those are the ones I've highlighted. I will go to Lumumba very fast, but please, I am not in the habit of saying it is time, cut. Because that's not the fashion here. But I wanted to go to Lumumba, and then I'll go to the Jericho Fafa. Lumumba?
Chair.
Yes, Senator?
Chair, I think if you want us to move very fast, what we need to do is to guide our guests on what the governor has said. If they are objecting to what he has said, what point? They must point out which point they are not agreeing with, which one they are agreeing with, so that we can move forward very fast.
Fair enough.
On one issue, Bonacha, our friend said that the issue of land or those properties belongs to who and who. The property belongs to the people of Kenya. And that is what he should note. From there now, we can keep on moving very fast. Please guide us.
No, that's guided. That's guided. I think you've taken note from what actually Senator Sifuna emphasized that. All the senators have emphasized that. Let us, for the purpose of moving forward, the governor has done a presentation. The clerk did capture all the comments that we have had in the past, which is what I call a status report. Let us try and interrogate those ones. Which ones do you feel satisfied about? Which one do you feel you agree with? What should we take note of as senators in terms of those presentations? So Lumumba.
The Governor and fellow...
by the way, just a moment, Chair. I like simplifying conversations such as this because we dealt with the issues in Mombasa, and it was very complex sometimes for even the petitioners to say just what do you want. I think that these are opportunities for you to simplify it for us as senators as well as the governor. This is what we want. Because I had a way of actually be able to make sure that as senators you can be able to converge with you and the governor on this issue. Is that okay? Please go ahead.
Good afternoon, Chair, Your Excellency the Governor, and Honorable Senators. My name is Agesa Omega. I'm standing in for our Chair, Walter Ogodi. most has been said by my colleague from Maringo. I'm saying not my colleague, my fellow owner from Maringo. Owner. Why do I say owner? Not tenant. Owner.
Chair, can you restrain the governor from...
Governor, stop intimidating the witness. Governor, you only speak to the chair.
Next week,
Tafadhali.
But I'd like you to tell us how owners paid it. The president.
You have your time.
Why do I say owner?
You're protected, sir.
Let me clarify to him. In his presentation, there are some things he was trying to evade. He gave not the whole history of the land.
And my friend Agesa.
Yes.
Here you only speak to the chair, you only look at the chair, you only point at the chair.
I'm sorry.
Chair, please. You know these matters are fairly emotive. Eh? And if there is need for physical separation of the governor from the witness, it will help us so that he is free to express himself. I have known governor not to be a violent person.
I guess proceed.
I am now concerned.
Why do I say owner? The governor has been very evasive. Evasive in which ways? He gave just a brief talk when it came to the history. He never mentioned anywhere the things which the last Senate asked him to produce. And if he could have produced all those, he could have known we are the owners. What I'll give, the governor came and also admitted the county had not gotten a contractor. We are not dealing with Governor Sakaja. We are not dealing with General Badi. We are dealing with Nairobi County government and the NMS, because NMS was a legal entity. So let's start it from the NMS. Our first engagement with the NMS was, and that's the question he asked, how about when NMS leaves the office? The officials by that time responded by saying, Justice Helen Wasilwa ruled it very clearly. NMS is a legal entity. So let's start it from where NMS started this project. In February 15, they called us. We have a meeting with them, which we responded to the call.
Which year?
February 15, 2021.
2021, okay.
We responded to the call, and they required us to do some things, which was registering of resident associations, which we did. The first meeting with the county government stroke NMS was in July 1st of 2021. And there are some things we discussed. They told us of the goodies of the project, but we had to drag them back because we are victims of historical injustice. Why do I say victims of historical injustice? Our parents, when they got these houses, when they allocated, there were documents, and even as my other co-owner has stated, the sessional paper of 1959, sessional paper number 3 of 1959, it stated very clearly, the rent, the loan which had come from the Colonial Development Fund to the Central Housing Board will be repaid through rent structure. Through rent what? Structure in the document. We came to independence, and they can even admit it in one of their documents. The first estate to be constructed, to be built by the Nairobi County government, was Uhuru Estate. Uhuru what? Uhuru Estate. Why is Block 51 unique? Because it sits on one piece of land, Maringo, Ofafa, and Lumumba. And in that one piece of land, you realize that's where the whole issue is. No title deed. The other time he told the county, he told the Senate committee last year March, we were preserving the lands. That was not the role of the county government. It's the role of the National Lands Commission, not the county government. Why did they come in 2021? Because That was the expiry of the duration. They are waiting for the expiry of the duration of the historical injustice. That's when they came and ambushed us. Our parents have gone to the graves crying fall of what the county government did to them. How did they play the fall? They took the first cards, which had a lot of things. Now they gave us the cards, which now had the social housing thing. When they gave us those cards, when our parents went to ask in 1988, they asked the councillor by then, Sami Mbogwa, tunataka nyumba zetu. The only thing they could tell us is, wapi imeandikwa hiyo. Knowing very well when they had come from the village, they never knew anything related with the law and housing. The governor each and every time they ambush us, through SMS, unlike before, when they advertise one, two, three things in the media. I'm talking of the print media. We have the copies of the print medias with us. When we had the first engagement with them, that's why I say we cannot trust them. They keep on shifting goalposts. We agreed all what had been discussed, which we presented to the Senate committee last year, for them to avail. After availing, we agree on certain issues, which they said, kama iko hivyo, kama ni ukweli, we shall honor it. We agreed the secretary and our secretary, they meet, they synchronize the meeting minutes, it become one document, not a public participation, a document for the minutes. From that time, they have been taking us in circles, ambushing us with things which are not there, only for the March 2022. We were invited to go to the NMS offices, NTCG offices at KCC. Because we kept on asking them, if you can't honor these minutes, how will you honor the agreement? They came with a shambolic document. They said, now here it is, you people start signing now, this is the document. We refused to sign the document because what it contained was not what we agreed with them. Some of the things we agreed was, they come with the title deed of the land, Block 51. They come with the design of the houses and everything. And then before that, when they had even started the process, they told us to register. They engaged us first in July 1st, 2021. And yet if you check on the document, the expression of interest was advertised in January 2021. And as per the Constitution says, public participation, we have to be engaged. They never did that. They said whenever they'll be coming on the ground, they will be accompanied by any member of the resident association, which never took place. And one of the person who contravened those things is in the house with us, from the county government side. He used to come akijificha the way the Maringo chairman has said. They could even come with cameras in some double cabin vehicles, wanapiga picha kidogo. We don't know what they are doing. When they see the residents, they run away. So we wondered, is this an open project? If you check on the EOI, and if you check on the
name of the person?
Kemboi is in this room. We have even the video.
Who is Kemboi? I want you to be explicit.
Yeah, Kemboi
works with
he's the chief housing officer.
Yeah, just
the chief housing officer, Mr. Kemboi.
Okay, yeah. That's continue.
Yes. They continue doing all that.
Just point of order. What video do you have? You said you had a video of him running away or what?
Doing some surveying of the land at the AB zone.
Okay, proceed.
Yes. Even as the governor says, they're in touch with the people. We do pay rents. Do they maintain the houses? Ask them which was the last time they maintained those houses. We have just become a milking cow. I think I will stop with that leave for my chairman Mugonda because of time.
Okay.
Just one question, Chair, to Mr. Gesa.
Go ahead, Senator.
Mr. Gesa, we have a report here from the county government on this public participation. They say there's an exercise at Lumumba Social Hall on the 25th of May 2023. Were you present at that exercise?
I was present. And when
did you get opportunity to say the things that you are telling the Senate today?
We were present. Our main role was just to listen to what they've come to tell us.
So you didn't tell them any of these things?
They said, no, tumambua tu tuwasomee hii karatasi. Tulipouliza, wakatuelezea, ati hii karatasi, tumambua tusipatie mtu. That was the estate officer.
Okay.
Estate officer Lumumba.
Okay.
Yeah. Chair, another supplementary. Chair, with what Mr. Agesa has just said, what then, as per your own question, Chair, is the ask from him representing Lumumba?
Yes. What we expect from the county government is for them to come and hold a public participation. We discussed some of the things we are raising here, one of them being the ownership of the land. Immediately settle the issue of the ownership of the land, that's when we shall now discuss about the project.
Okay, I guess just as I said, I like concretizing what I'm trying to get into the theme, and that's why actually, if you heard about substantive questions, the four of them, now they are coming out, Governor. I'd ask about the question of successive tenancies, which is basically substantially the issue of is there an ownership problem or this. But for you particularly, I guess, you have referred to session paper number 3.
Yes.
Which was a contract of finance proposals.
Yes.
For the Nairobi African Housing Project.
Yes.
Are you telling this committee that in your humble view, or rather your understanding, that session paper was a contractual agreement that the tenancy payments you were making were towards ownership?
Yes.
I want that to be very clear so that
yes.
It's a substantive issue, Senator, so that you take it note. That is your understanding as the residents?
That is my understanding.
Yes.
Adding unto what? I was not born in Pumwani, I was born in...
Yes, so you and that's what I was talking about succession, because you brought the issue of your parents,
yes,
who might have been privy to this understanding, and that's why you have filed that contractual paper with us.
Yes.
Is that the understanding?
Yes.
Senators, I want to take note of that.
That's okay, Chair. So yes. Then the only thing that then we would ask is that we conclude these things.
Sure, Senator.
So, have you tabled that agreement that says that you're paying this rent towards ownership of the house? That's
yes.
one.
Yes.
And secondly, so what are the residents of Lumumba claiming? Are they claiming the land and the houses, or just the land and not the house? What do you own there? Is it the land and the house, or just the land?
The residents of Lumumba, first and foremost, they are claiming the land. That is number one. And then secondly, when it comes to the issue of houses, it's a matter of discussion amongst the residents.
Chair, I want to finally just let him clarify whether this dispute, a dispute about ownership of land, there's places you can take those disputes.
Yes.
I don't think that sitting with the county governor, you cannot discuss and agree who owns what.
Yes.
So which institutions are handling that dispute about the ownership of Lumumba and Maringo and Jericho?
Yes. What we did, we had to go apply to the National Lands Commission. We had to give our pleas. Then Commissioner Fatma had to release a team to come on the ground. A team of surveyors. Fatma herself, the surveyor was by the name of Paddy. They came on the ground. They did the survey they started with Maringo, then they came to Lumumba, then they went to Ofafa. And they said they are doing that pegging because in the records, this land does not have any owner. That's why it doesn't have an LR number.
So your position, or what you're telling this committee, is that this dispute is before the National Lands Commission on ownership, not the size or whether who has the title. Who owns this land is a question before the Land Commission, the National Land Commission.
Yes, it's before the Land Commission, and when we did a follow-up, we had to do a follow-up, the National Lands Commission.
Use the mic, please.
We had to do a follow-up, the National Lands Commission. Then after doing a follow-up, sometime back, it was last year, we were summoned by Commissioner Fatma. She told us, we have realized the Nairobi, that is immediately the governor had just come from the Senate committee, this committee of roads and housing. She told us, we have realized the county government has got the title deed. What we asked her was, how comes they have a title deed and the governor admitted before the Senate committee on roads and housing in front of all media cameras, the county government does not have a title deed? Now, where have they gotten it from?
Now, these documents have come from you, right?
Yes.
There's a letter here inviting you to a hearing before the National Lands Commission on 30th of April.
Yes.
You are aware of this?
Yeah, they ambushed us over the weekend.
What do you mean by, how much time do you need? Because you seem to be very knowledgeable about the history of this matter. Even if I woke you up in the middle of the night to appear before this committee, you're telling how much time do you need? Because we can also help you.
No.
This letter is dated 23rd of April, and they are calling for a meeting on 30th of April, which is a 7-day notice.
In fact, we had a meeting yesterday evening, all the 3 estates, discussing about that letter. Why are we not in agreement with the letter? The letter came through someone who was just a coordinator, and he left the association long time ago. We have been writing to the National Lands Commission directly as Lumumba Resident Association.
So you are saying you will not attend this hearing?
I'm still answering your question, Senator.
No, you know, I guess we need to make some progress.
Yes.
Let's make progress.
Yes.
And I want you to be very honest with us, because we have been more than honest with you.
Yes.
As a senator, you know how much we have dwelt on this matter.
Yes.
Chair, as a senator of Nairobi, one of the frustrations I have, and I have to express this because I've said it to Chairman Mgonda, I've said it to Sam, is that there appears to be a hesitation from you to resolve this question. That whenever there is opportunity for that conversation to happen, you look for excuses for that conversation not to happen. Chairman, if the National Land Commission has invited you, and you have rightly said they are the ones who should be able to resolve this question, even if they call you today or tomorrow, honestly speaking, what is wrong with appearing before the National Lands Commission?
What, we have no objection, but
you are saying it should come through you. The invitation should come through you.
No, I'll give you the reason why we are still discussing of it. The letter, we received it on Saturday in the evening, not a working day. And it never came through the official channel. It came through someone.
Senator Wambua, please. Chairman, you are representing the chairman. Please let's make progress on this matter.
Yes.
Are you disputing the contents of this letter?
We are not disputing. We can avail ourselves anytime.
Are you disputing the contents of this letter?
We are not disputing.
You are not disputing.
We are not disputing.
Then you are disputing. What is the problem?
We will appear.
And the problem is how it came to you. I mean, really, surely. This is a serious matter.
Yes.
Please, let's make progress on this matter, Chair.
Yes, we will appear before it.
Chair.
Chuto.
Yes, I want to ask Chair a specific question. Question number 1. All these years, our friends have been paying some kind of a rent. I want to know, they were paying to who? Number 1. Number 2, the governor has just said that he's giving houses to the former tenants. What is his take on this? Is he agreeing to it or not?
We don't refuse. But one thing, we are not trusting the Nairobi County government. They don't honor their promises.
The first question is, you've been paying rent. You've been paying to who? Which institution?
Nairobi County government.
So now you are telling us
You know, Chair, Chair, just let me make this point.
Please, go ahead,
that I would very much want. You know,
Yes.
one of the things you have not told the Chair is that this dispute arose in the 80s. I think it's 1987. Your senator was 5 years. Senator Eddie, who is chairing, I don't think he was born yet. We want to resolve this question once and for all. Before I leave this Senate,
Yes.
I want to be able to have resolved this. And I'm sure there is a commitment on the part of the county government also to make sure that there is finality.
Yes.
And because this is a house of records, the governor has said certain things, and I want him to say himself regarding that question of ownership. But what I wanted to request, these are constitutional bodies that are mandated to settle these disputes.
Yes.
Disputes regarding land ownership, you have rightly identified to be the National Land Commission.
Yes.
I want to make a request, a very passionate request to you, that just the way you have been cooperating with this committee, whenever we call you, I don't hear you complaining about notice, about who has brought the letter. I send text messages to you directly, all of you here.
Yes.
Just appear and make your case, because Chair, sometimes I get so frustrated. And Chairman, I want you to address this because I've spoken to you directly. It doesn't matter what somebody calls a meeting. If you call Sifuna into a meeting and I know that I don't agree with certain positions, it doesn't matter what you call it. I will go there and say what I want to say. That is why you saw me asking the chair from Maringo whether they were present in these meetings and whether they were allowed to say the things they are telling us now. How is it that the Senate is the only environment where you people can say these things? Do you want, as the Senate, this Senate, do you want us to transform ourselves into the National Land Commission, into the courts, into the Nairobi County government, so that you can have honest conversations?
Yes.
Do you want this chair? Because when Senator Crystal was asking you, what do you want us to do so that we can resolve this crisis? Do you want this committee to be present physically in your meetings with the county government, or what is it that you want so that we can resolve this question?
We'll appear before the National Lands Commission.
Chair,
Yes.
I'm listening.
Yes.
There is no way. There's something called reality check.
Yes.
Where you find yourself now,
Yes.
there is no way you avoid the Nairobi County government.
Yes.
It's not possible.
Yes.
And I empathize. I've been talking about this both at the level of government, national and county government, that constantly we see a loss of trust with the government in both sides. It's an unfortunate situation, where the population loses trust for whichever reason, and I don't want to get into the transactions that have been between you and the county government, whether it's right or wrong, but for whichever reason, we constantly have a population that is constantly losing trust with the county government and sometimes also with the national government. It's an unfortunate state of affairs because it is the Nairobi government that is transactioning, in this case, with the developers.
Yes.
And the reason why I ask you about session paper number 3 is because you are also agreeing that there was, whether it is substantively understood so, or whether it is a misguided understanding, there is an understanding that the payments that were happening in the tenancy agreements were towards the ownership of the land of some sort.
Yes.
The governor has equally been very clear, and if I quote you, Governor, you can correct me in your responses, that once these developments are done, the residents will be given the houses for free. And he said that that free is not an issue of being free because you had been paying rent over time and you've been members of this estate for over time.
Yes.
So there is an understanding there that we're not appreciating.
Yes.
So what I want to request you, because I've read the letter that Senator Sifuna has referred to here, what I want to request you first of all is to make sure that you engage with the county government. Number 2, make sure that you engage with the National Land Commission. And perhaps do us a favor to update us on what that conversation has been. Because while the Senator of Nairobi says that we cannot transform ourselves into National Land Commission and the courts, we also, because we work for the people, you send us to these houses. Senator Sifuna is your representative. He talks on behalf of you. He has got no interest on behalf of the government of Nairobi, unless he's talking about issues of RMLF and how we get money in the government of Nairobi. You represent them. We actually have the convening power to actually facilitate a conversation between you and National Land Commission if it's an adversarial one. But the first thing, you must show goodwill and go to those meetings. If it becomes difficult, I can assure you that this Senate is committed to get this issue done. We can be able to invite the National Land Commission, invite you, and invite the county government in a multi-stakeholder conversation. But first of all, we need, I don't know whether to say is to restore that trust, because we can't. But we need that engagement to continue.
Yes, we will.
So please listen to Senator Sifuna and engage with the National Land Commission, appear there, say what you need to say, be firm, update the Senate.
Yes.
Is that a good place to finish your presentation? I can go to the next.
We agree. I agree with it.
Thank you.
In total.
Can I go to Jericho Fafa?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Chair. Again, my name is John Mgoda. I am the chairman of Ofafa Jericho Residents Association. Chair, there is a danger of a driver arriving at his destination without passengers. I say this, and I would like to avoid emotions. We have had an extremely difficult moment dealing with the county government. And as an alternative, that is why we find ourselves in this honorable Senate. Difficulties in the sense, I have had public participation meetings being referred to many times. I've been before this Senate. Chair, in Ofafa Jericho, we are still in ground zero. Ground zero for the reason that the meeting of 12 February 2021, which was held just before the Lumumba one, was at the height of COVID. It was held at the Jericho Hall at the height of COVID. But what was the essence of that meeting? First, to form associations that will act as a bridge between the people of Jericho and the county government. Thereafter, any other meeting that has been held was without the public. It was only the committee that meant the principal officers of the county government. And guess what? Anytime they came to those meetings, notices which I have here don't read like invitations for public meetings, public participation meetings. All they stated is, we are coming to update you on the progress. And hang on, when were we ever involved? These are the first days that from 2019 COVID time, 2021 we start meetings. You are telling us to form associations, meet your people for public participation, but they don't come in public participation. Somebody has been mentioned here from the county government, Mr. Kiboi, will stand with me as a witness against his own employer. They never used to come to us with seeking our views, even as their own public participation guidelines say.
Just a moment, John. I don't mean to interfere with your thought process. I like the way you are presenting, but you've mentioned something here that also I think I guess I also mentioned. The meeting that was held in February 2021 that perhaps encouraged the residents to have associations, form these associations to engage with the county government. And of course it was facilitated by NMS. Is that true?
Yes, Chair.
The two of you, may you just help me understand, was the association formed particularly in anticipation of this renewal and regeneration project?
Correct.
And at that time, were you amenable to it? As in, did you accept the idea of that renewal and regeneration of the estates?
No.
You did not?
No.
Agesa? You did not accept it? Okay, so, sorry? You put yourself on record?
We did not accept it because if you could check on their document and you check on the one which had for the 1959, there were similar documents.
Okay.
And one was never honored.
Okay.
So we never trusted them to honor this one.
Okay, I just want to that so that we can move together, because that question, I'm going to give you said Wambua, but that question, I want to just be clear that the association are not being found for general engagement with the county, but specifically on this particular project. So that as you present, that is very clear to us.
Yes.
But Senator, I'm going to give you a minute, but I want him to continue. I don't want him to interfere with this third process. I just have that clarification. But Senator,
just following up on what you're asking, Chair.
Please, yes, please go ahead.
Then the chairs are saying that they were asked to form associations to engage with the county government, right? And you formed those associations. So what are you opposed to?
Now, after forming those associations, we expected the only good thing they would have done, noble thing, is anytime they wanted to meet the residents, they would come through us, and that was the intention. We would create an atmosphere, maybe arrange meetings and stuff like that, so that when they come to the ground, we will have been involved.
So, because again, the conclusions, no, Senator, you asked a very good question. You're not opposed to the project, at least at a conceptual level, because I think the commission went through. You are not opposed to the project. What is becoming a point of constraint is that the county government is not engaging the associations and the leadership of the association as you had formed them.
They are not engaging us.
They are not engaging the association. Everything you're saying here is what the government must respond to, and we must get to conclusion. So there's issue of not engaging the associations and the association's leadership. Do I get that as an issue?
Both the associations and the subjects.
Okay.
So Chair, just let him continue.
So continue.
Chair,
Yes, continue.
point of order. Chair.
Yes, Senator Asige.
Thank you, Chair. Is it in order, Chair, for us to continue without our member being able to go on record? Because she has walked in and she has tried to catch your eye, but Chair, you are not allowing your eye to be caught.
No, my eye was caught by the residents. I apologize about that. I was so focused on this other side. So Tobiko, please put yourself on record. I'm sorry about that.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Senator Asige. Chair, my name is Paris Tobiko, member of this committee.
So, Senator, so I was so engaged on this side. I didn't notice you coming, but thank you so much for coming to the meeting. So please, John, continue.
Well,
I'll add you
after the formation of those associations, which definitely were the vehicle to approach these discussions, what followed later was strictly a meeting with the association, or rather the committee members. So we met for about 3 times. But in these 3 meetings we met with the chief officers. In one major meeting, we agreed on certain things. If you allow me to mention, including the name of the officer, Madam Marion, who was there then, she said, after lengthy discussion, she is the one who coined the word renovation. So you people don't want the regeneration project. What you want is renovation. In that case, then, I'll give you 10 days within which you should send in your views about renovation. And she agreed to the fact that there was no demolition that was going to happen, because that was what was going on. And by the way, the threatening language that was used to us, we begin in August to evict you people, August of 2021, when the project was still very young. So in those meetings, at one time, we agreed the minutes of 29th June 2021 should be synchronized, harmonized with those of the county government so that we can agree to sign one set of minutes. We sent the minutes at first. They were never received. They said they don't have an office. We sent a set of minutes again to City Hall. And when we discovered that they are dodging us, what we did is we used the courier. We used Wells Fargo and we used the G4S to deliver those draft minutes. To date, and they are in some of the files that we have given the members of this committee, we gave members of the committee for their ease of reference. Those minutes have never been signed to date. Now, regarding Jericho in particular, the meeting that was held all over the 13 estates on 25th of May, we held that meeting. Only the county, the estate officer did a speech. We did not allow any of the members of the county government to speak. Why? Because they are going to treat this as a public participation meeting, and we have documented it even before it happened and even after it happened. And in that meeting, we told them, you always come to us to rubber stamp what you have already done in the background. Rubber stamping what? This book, Volume 1, Volume 2, Volume 3, is not our product. It is the product of the NMS, and the county government's logo is there. We did not produce this document, and therein lies a lot of information which they themselves have captured. Now, when they failed to sign these minutes, and when that meeting of public participation was called, and we drew their attention to this book, it did not augur well with the residents. And by the way, what happened, there was an altercation, and the officers went to seek refuge in the ward admin's office within Jericho Social Hall. I must mention here that by 12:30, that meeting was in disarray. But we reached out to our Honorable Senator Sifuna, and he stopped what he was doing. He came all the way up to Jericho Hall. And after that, when we explained our case, that is when he realized the grave concerns that we had and arranged for us to come to Senate. We could only seek refuge in the Senate. Why? Even now I've heard you say, Chair, that you will make arrangements for us to meet the governor. I have only met my governor since elections twice, today and last time.
Chair, point of order. Point of order.
Governor, you have your time.
No, that's why it's a point of order. Chair.
You're not allowed to a point of order because you're not a member of this house.
I'm a member.
You are a member, but I will make sure. Governor.
It costs you nothing to hear me.
Governor, just a moment. Let him just finish.
Chair,
once he finishes, I'm gonna make sure that I give you a right of response.
Of course, I'm responding to everything that I said.
But
you don't know what I want to ask.
No, the reason I'm saying this is because when he's presenting, I want him just to finish his presentation, then I come to you. I'm going to give you a chance to be able to ask. Can we just finish Representative John, because you've got only about 2 minutes to finish.
I will allow him to speak. Allow him to speak. Please, Chair.
John, go ahead.
And therefore, our views, which we are presenting to you today and which have been captured in those files in quite some detailed documentation, is that, as Senator Sifuna stated, that there seems to be something here that we either need this to be resolved or not to be. We need it to be resolved like yesterday. But the problem has been, right from the word go, we offered ourselves to come to public participation meetings, which we were never meaningful. And secondly, because you cannot be heard, then the only alternative you have is to seek for alternative institutions that can help you. And that is why we have gone to NLC, because of the land. We believe we own this land, legally so. And we still also understand we legally own these houses as our houses because they were rent to own a house, as you have already been explained in those documents that you have been given and as already explained by my Maringo counterpart. Chair, we were going to seek...
You have one more minute.
We were going to seek your indulgence here, that you engage NLC and engage the county government to please hear us out. We are still in square one. We still believe the residents said no to this project. Proper consultations have never been made, and the law has been broken left, right, and center. We live in fear in our estates. Thank you, Chair.
Governor, I wanted to give you a chance to perhaps raise your concern.
Chair, I think next time we have such an engagement, everyone should be on oath. Because there's a lot of disingenuity. Chair, I will share with you a letter, because he says he's met me once or twice, and that they seek audience and they're not getting audience. We invited them for a meeting with me on the 7th of April, 2025. They came and stopped residents from attending the meeting at Charter Hall. Why is he not saying that? You cannot come to the table of equity without, you must have clean hands. So when you call you for the meeting and you come with placards and you threaten others who are registering from attending the meeting, are we really being honest, Chair?
Chair, I think that is why I think the guidance of the Chair initially was the correct one, that you allow these people to express themselves. These matters are a motive for everyone. Then during your response, you can even table those problems, because me personally, and I will say this because me, I don't fear anybody here. I have raised this concern and I've repeated it here, that our chairs appear to be afraid to go to certain meetings because they think, and Governor, you can understand, because one of the issues, Chair, is that...
Your chairs means chairs of the association.
Yes, these chairs.
Yes, it's not the chairs of the committee.
One of the reasons is that the minutes of those meetings, and this is a matter that I have brought to the attention of the Governor himself, I have written to you myself asking for minutes of his meetings. That is the fear of these county chairs, and it is our responsibility as a leadership to address those fears so that we can actually unlock this dispute. So, Chair, I think you had guided properly. Let the chairs finish. Let the chairs finish. I think we only have 2 more to go, and they have more to say. We have not even gotten to Woodley. But to Jatoga Eastlands.
Yeah. So I think we have got 2 more. Thank you, Joe's representation. And Governor, as I said, actually the way the meeting is going is actually the way it confirms on trial. It's not the other way around where one must rebut the other. But I think that just take note. I'm going to give you sufficient time to respond to some of the concerns that are raised. Let me go to Woodley. Let me go to Woodley, because I want to mix this. The gentleman, you're from Fafa, right?
Yes.
Yes. Fafa has just been deployed by the chair.
Yeah, but I want to ask, before you go to Woodley, there's some information that you are lacking. Governor is lacking, Senator is lacking, but if it's known, then these discussions will be even more easier to solve.
How many minutes do you need to tell me the information?
2-3 minutes.
I'll give you 2.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone in the room. I've stayed in Maringo since 1962. I was 5 years old. We were the first alpha in Nairobi. Now we are moving out, leading to other alpha. What I want to say is this. 1974, His Excellency Mwai Kibaki, and I want Sifuna to help us on this. 1974, Mwai Kibaki, His Excellency, our late, he went to Parliament, passed about owning these houses, and it went first reading, it went second reading,
Then there was going to be an election. So Kibaki left, went to Uganda, and those two readings are still in Parliament. Honorable Sifuna, can you go and look for these hazards? Because it is one of the documentary evidence, supportive documentary evidence in what we are doing and saying here. Secondly, yes. Secondly, about ownership. I don't know anywhere on this planet someone builds a house without a title, without showing documentary evidence of what you own, and the designs of those houses or whatever you want to build. So when government says they own the houses, maybe you like to see the designs that the county government had and the titles to show that they own the land. But they want to own the land in their minds and not following the constitution or any law they have passed. So, Honorable Sifuna, can you go, please? I've tried to get those documents, 1974, the hazard that they passed that we should own the houses. It remained only one reading to own. I will answer Sifuna there very fast, and thank you for the contribution. I didn't even know that his former, His Excellency, the former president, was involved. Yes. But 1974. Yes. Remind me of your name again. Honorable Mwai Gakuya. Yes. Mwai. I wanted to just share with you that in Parliament, when a member wants to pass law and they have brought that proposal in the House, and it has gone through first and second reading, and one, it can collapse in those engagements. It can be passed or not passed by members. It was passed, but just let me guide you. Yes. But most importantly, if it wasn't made law, and in that session then it didn't go through, it lapses in that session. So it's very unfortunate. I wish that actually the late president followed this through and made it law. But because it wasn't made law, it would be difficult for Senator Sifuna to go and dig it because he died with that session. Okay, can you advise me?
Chair, just switch off your mic, Mwai.
Yes, sir.
I want to commit to you. It is very easy to get parliamentary records. The Hansard is there, but what the chair is struggling to tell you is that a law only passes after that third stage. But as to the debate, the record is there. We can always get it for you. So I think, Chair, we can move to the next.
I'll move to Woodley, but I will definitely encourage us to get us the material. But just in terms of the legal framework, it is if it didn't pass, it died in that session.
What I'm trying to say, Chair, is that those documents in Parliament are part and parcel of supporting documentary. I get it. So what I was asking Sifuna, to bring this and then ratili itaanguka. Thank you.
Yeah, but I must, just a moment, I must help you because you seem to be a veteran there. You actually lose more on this conversation when you go to refer to a document that was not passed by law. So, but that's for another day. So just switch off your mic and then let's hear from Woodley.
Maybe give me a second or two to...
Let please, I will give you some other time, but let the gentleman here also get a chance, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chair. My name is Sam Gachago, and I'm the chairman of the Woodley Development Initiative. And nataka kusalimia our governor, Governor Sakaja, who I have not seen since he was elected governor. I last saw him in his office in KICC. It is good to see you, Governor. And I'd also like to say hello to Lydia Mathia, who has evaded seeing us for the last 8 months. Governor, it is true that the redevelopment in Woodley has proceeded, but at the moment there seems to be very little activity, and people are asking questions as to what is going on. Number two, I know there were certain problems with people going to court, and out of the 43 people, only 22 or so people were given their 900,000 shillings for relocation. I was approached by a lady who nearly undressed in front of me saying she wants her money. And I asked her, where do I get Governor Sakaja to ask him this question? And it is something that you as a governor need to look at. You need to make a decision as to whether you're going to give the other 22 people who have not received their relocation allowance money, because there are some very elderly ladies who are crying foul because they need to receive this money. Yes, it's true, we did support this redevelopment, and we have been supporting the redevelopment process since 2014. And the fact of the matter is, there would be no Woodley estate. Woodley estate had disappeared and was going to disappear. But for the gallant fight that was put up by the residents, we managed to save the estate for the county government. At that time it was the Nairobi City Council, at great expense and sacrifice. When you come to talking about, I think is it lot 2, 3, 4, and 5, I think one of the basic things that you should do is inform the community in Woodley what is actually going on, because right now they are wondering, are we going to be taken by surprise? It was not surprise, but it is very, it is a sad thing to see people being removed at night, and that is one thing, Governor Sakaja, we don't want to see in the future. We want a structured way of dealing with this, just like how we would like to see a structured way of dealing with public participation. The redevelopment process is good for the city, but it has to be done with adequate public participation. As you've heard, everybody, most of the other chairmen are crying public participation. So what we are asking you as a governor is to ensure that these public participation meetings are structured in the proper manner. Now, I'd like to deviate, Governor Sakaja, from, with the permission of the chair, go ahead, to discuss an issue that has been plaguing Woodley for the last 2 months. We do not understand why we are getting threats of eviction from the housing department now and then, and this is creating a lot of disease amongst. I've written to you about that, and I think you have told us to see your chief officer, Miss Mathia, and she has not been available. But we did manage to see Patrick Mbogo, who assured us that they are looking into the matter. And all this is all due to rent arrears and rent anomalies, rent payment anomalies, which all we wanted to do is sit down with the concerned officials and sort out the issue so we can move forward. Otherwise, beyond that, I don't think there's anything very much I can say. It's only to ask the Chief Officer Housing, please, just accord us the opportunity to sit with you. We'll appreciate it very much. And I'm sure the government has told you, the governor, and don't ask me how I know, has told you to do so. So please make sure you do that, and we shall sort things out. because one of the basic things that we want to discuss with the county is that issue of public participation. You have stated you have 3 more lots which we do not know of, and we would like to know exactly what you're planning. We had indicated in our proposal that we should form a liaison committee between the county and the developer and the residents, and that would help resolve a lot of issues. So when we have our next meeting with Madam Mathia, I think we shall bring this up, and I'm sure we shall be able to move forward on these issues. Apart from that, Governor, all the other issues with regarding to the infrastructures have been spoken of, and you have actually pointed out exactly what the county is doing. And
Sam, I don't mean to cut you, but I still advise you that you don't address the governor, you address the chair.
Oh,
yes.
I beg your pardon.
Thank you. Let's continue.
Yes. I was talking about the infrastructural development when you are doing a major redevelopment. You've explained it very well that the county is doing things and is continuing to do so. So I think I don't have much more to say to the governor. All I can do is wish him well. And because you have come to redevelop our estate where we've lived for more than 50 years, please do so with a human heart. Thank you very much.
Senators from the plenary notified by Mr. Sam, do you have any input, question?
Yeah, Chairman, I am quite surprised that Sam Gashago getting this opportunity, all he has to do is to wish the governor well. Because in my office, Honorable Chair, there is a file this thick of letters from Sam Gashago and the residents of Woodley. So I was expecting more from you, Sam, but let me address ourselves to the key issues. Because after today, Sam, I don't expect you to write me letters regarding matters that would have been addressed here today.
Okay.
There was a public participation on the 25th of May, 2023. And in fact, on that day, the only public participation that I swung by to see how it is going on was Woodley and Jericho Lumumba. So I want to ask you, as a resident of Woodley, what was the problem with that public participation of 25th May? Did you encounter similar problems to your friends from the East?
Oh yes, on the 20th, the one that you attended at the social hall. Yes, okay, fine. That one, obviously, basically that public participation, yes, there was everything wrong with it because it was not a public participation for Woodley residents. It was a public participation that included the stakeholders, shop owners, the hawkers, and so forth. So it didn't specifically address the issues concerning Woodley issues. The Woodley issues concerning the redevelopment were beclouded by other issues which did not affect the Woodley residents. It did not come out very well and strongly to bring out the main issues that the Woodley estate residents wanted clarified.
Okay, and secondly, clarify to us, because I think from your evidence today, there are people who are still not compensated. I was under the impression, Governor, that was complete, but you will clarify in your response. Do you have a sample or a copy of a letter of the allotment letters that the Governor has said all of you have received?
I do have a copy, but no, I don't have a copy with me right now.
But have you seen it?
I've seen one, yes.
Okay.
Coming directly from her office. And I would have thought it would have been a good idea to sit down and talk to her and ask her exactly what is going on. That is my take on the issue.
Okay, lastly, Chair.
Now, in Woodley, okay, not everything is hanky-dory. Not everything is right. You understand? Like I have said, the systematic, the way they go about their public participation meetings is basically wanting. Because even right now you heard that there is, I think, lot 2, 3, 4, and 5, something that we don't know, we haven't heard about it. And I think they're putting the cart before the